I knew we were going to talk about this. But there's other news. Hey, Citigroup. Citigroup.
You don't want to talk about it?
Made so much what? I can't figure it out. The banks have been reporting their earnings all week. The earnings, by the way, are a report card on how business is doing. And what happened?
Citi had a profit and a loss.
Very good. All right,
Citi had a quarter with a big asterisk on it. We're going to tell you about it.
We're going to tell you about the banks and how this can affect how you can make money in this economy.
But first, when the White House bills remarks on the economy as a major speech, but then says, oh, there'll be no new plans or initiatives, well, we reporters tend to get a little skeptical about it. But, you know, President Barack Obama's speech turned out to be quite significant
it was a big deal. From criticizing Wall Street's fast buck mentality to challenging Washington politicos to change the way they do business. Here's what he had to say.
When a crisis hits, there's all too often a lurch from shock to trance, with everyone responding to the tempest of the moment until the furors died down, the media coverage has moved on to something else. Instead of confronting the major challenges that will shape our future in a sustained and focused way.
All right, let's bring in political contributor and interim host of CNN's No Bias, No Bull, Roland Martin, and Peter Schiff, author of It says cash proof, but I think it's crash proof.
Crash proof. How to profit from the coming economic collapse. Let's start with you, Peter. You know, we've been talking about the fact that the president and others maybe are moving away from the shock phase of this recession into maybe adapting to what has to be done next. What's your feeling? Where are we in this recession? Are we in a place where we might be looking at a turnaround and things happening?
Oh, no, not at all. I think it's early on. If you were going to compare it to the 1930s, maybe this is 1931, 1932. And unfortunately, we're going to turn it into a depression, an inflationary depression. Unfortunately, you know, the president's plan is interfering with the free market's attempt to restore a sound foundation to our economy. It's interesting that Barack Obama, in his own speech, acknowledges that our economy was built on the phony foundation of borrowing and spending, and that we need to save more and invest more and produce more. But all of his policies are counterproductive because they're interfering with the free market's attempts to bring that change about.
But Roland, the president is saying you have to use this time right now to build this better foundation. I mean, is he doing the right thing, or is he getting in the way, as Peter says, of the free market fixing it?
Well, first of all, I think it's laughable to use the phrase free market when we're the ones supplying the money. So trust me, it's not free. Look, at some point, the government, they have a certain role in this. And so when it comes to homeowners, when it comes to in terms of banks, when it comes to Wall Street, look what's happening with AIG, we are the place of last resort. What's interesting here, you have the ebb and flow that's going on here, and that is, it is natural. You look at the stimulus package, you look at the bailout, all these things are still in the interim basis. He hasn't even reached 100 days yet. So why are we shocked that all of a sudden you see some slight uptick, some movement? Again, to me, it's going to go up and down. It's going to go up and down until there's some kind of firm footing. And he's right. You have to challenge how we are structured. I don't buy this whole nonsense. Let the free market just do what they want to do. We know what that looks like. We all get screwed.
All right, let's look at that, Peter, because you do actually take the view that the free market should just do what it's got to do. Government should step back out, that we're way too far into this thing. You've argued for months we shouldn't have put a penny into this economy.
Of course not. You know, it's the stimuluses and the bailouts. That's the problem. Bush started it. Obama's just continuing it. But we need to go back to a sound foundation. You're talking about these bank earnings out of Citi. We should have let Citi go bankrupt. But we don't need to have, you know, these profits in the banks. It's bank earnings that were part of the problem because they earned their money making bad loans.
Let me explore this with you, because you have long said that the banks can go bankrupt, the auto companies can go bankrupt. The issue that worries me, and you and I have talked about this, is we have an unemployment rate of 8.5%. We have more than 6 million people actively collecting unemployment insurance, probably another 7 or 8 million people who have run out of unemployment insurance benefits. So we're up to 15 million people officially unemployed. If we let these companies fail, we could easily cross 20 million and go up above 10% unemployment. Are you concerned about that?
Well, if we keep them in business, we're going to have more unemployment. If we let them fail, we'll free up that capital to go someplace more productive so that we can re-employ these people profitably, actually making products at a profit, doing something productive for society. If we keep them entrenched in money-losing businesses, we're going to have more unemployment, and the unemployed people are not going to have new jobs to go into.
I want to bring the president back in here and one of the remarks that he made, and I want us to all four of us to listen to it and get your response rolling about this. You know, the president talking about looking beyond the right now for the longer term. So we're sort of arguing here about whether we're doing the right thing for this particular recession, this particular problem. He's looking much bigger and using this as a time to try to solve what he thinks are some other long-term problems. Let's listen to how the president put it.
2009 will continue to be a difficult year for America's economy, and obviously most difficult for those who've lost their jobs. The severity of this recession will cause more job loss, more foreclosures, and more pain before it ends.
And then, of course, the other soundbite that we played earlier was about the 24-hour news cycle, and when all the media furor dies down, you know, we have some big issues to solve. So in the near term, he seems to be tempering the glimmers of hope. You know, we have glimmers of hope, but we have a lot of this work to do. Is he striking the right tone, Roland?
Well, yeah, because look, you can't sit here and say, well, no, let's have a president who's saying things are wonderful, things are great. Remember, President George W. Bush, for a whole year, not a recession. That's not a recession. But we knew it was a recession. All of a sudden it was confirmed in December '08. And they said, well, it really started in December of '07. And so you have to have a president who is honest, who is open, and saying, look, here's the reality of where we are. And so I think absolutely, in terms of the tone he is setting, but also saying, look, these things are going to continue. The moratoriums on foreclosures, a lot of those are going away with these companies. We're seeing the uptick right now when it comes to that. But you're also seeing an opportunity for people who also have funds, who do want to buy homes. And so, again, that's where the ebb and flow comes in.
Yeah, but remember, you know, the recession, this is part of the cure. We need the recession. It's painful, but it's necessary. But unfortunately, Barack Obama is saying one thing and doing the other. He is trying to artificially stimulate the economy. He's trying to get consumers to spend more when they should be spending less. He's leading us deeper into debt. He's piling on trillions of dollars of deficit spending, which is going to undermine our future.
But Peter, if you need to save more, and I think we all have come around to this, even if you didn't share this view a year ago, Americans have to save more money. Who's going to spend in the meantime to keep our economy going, even at a low level?
Spending doesn't get the economy going. Production does. Saving does. That's the myth. That's the illusion. We don't want the government to undermine all the good choices that Americans are making. If Americans want to pay off their debt, we don't want the government piling public debt on top of it because they're only obligated to pay it back.
For Peter, all these years, though, our economy has been based upon buy. We love to buy. Look, we can see talking about capitalism. We love to buy. Look, I understand in terms of people who are sitting here overspending, but you can't have a situation where, frankly, folks are not spending anything. I mean, look, you also want a job. You want supposed to buy your book. Okay, let's save money. Don't buy Peter's book. I bet you won't like that, Peter.
Mine is cheaper.
Look, in order to buy, somebody has to make this stuff. The only reason we've been able to operate our phony economy is because foreigners have been making this stuff for us, but now they found out that we can't pay for this stuff. We can't pay back our debts. So we have to start producing stuff just like everybody else. You know, it's a myth. Consumption is 70% of GDP, but it's not 70% of the economy. You can't consume what you don't produce.
No, you both have a good point. We do have to spend a little bit. We do have to save more. We do have to figure out what it is we're going to produce to give to the rest of the world. Great to talk to both of you, as always.
Peter's book, chapter by chapter.
That would save you some money. Roland Martin, watch him at 8 o'clock weekdays on No Bias, No Bull. Peter Schiff is the author of Crash Proof, How to Profit from the Coming Economic Collapse. You should buy it, but don't overspend.
Well, the collapse is here, though.
Don't borrow money to buy Peter's book.
Right.
It would not make him very happy. All right, here's the headline for you. Banks are doing better. Banks are doing better. So are
Citibank made a great big
a profit and a loss. So are you anywhere closer to getting your money back?